Dear students, myself Dr. Fatima Sultana, Associate Professor in Department of Zoology, JDB Government Girls College, Kota. Today we are going to discuss about the mammalia skin and its derivative. What is skin? The alternate name for skin is integument. And integument comes from a Latin word that means to cover. The integument as an organ and is also known as skin. And there are many derivatives like hair, nail, and a variety of glands which we are going to discuss. Now, what are the functions of the integumentary system? What does the skin do? It serves as a barrier against infection and injury, helps to regulate body temperature, removes the waste products from the body, provides protection against ultraviolet radiation from the sun, generates vitamin D. So we see that skin does a lot of roles. And skin is one of the largest organs of the body. It makes up to 6 to 8% of the total body weight. And it consists of top layer called epidermis and under that is dermis. So there are two primary layers, epidermis and dermis. Epidermis main role is waterproofing and acts as a barrier. As I had told you that skin gives us the protection from various infections and injuries. Dermis location for appendages. Now this is further divided. You can see the layers of the skin. The topmost stratum cornea, which commonly consists of dead cells, epidermis, and below epidermis is dermis. In between this epidermis and dermis is a layer which is known as basement membrane, and below dermis is hypodermis. Epidermis is the outer layer, protective barrier over the body's surface, and its major cells are keratinocytes, that is keratin, because this layer of epidermis is made of mostly dead cells. There are no blood vessels, and it can be further subdivided into five strata: stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum aspinosum, stratum basale. Now what we see that there are four types of cells in this epidermis. Keratinocytes, these produce keratin protein, a fibrous protein that helps to protect the epidermis. And because there is no blood supply, the cells slowly start dying because there is no supply of blood. Next are the Langerhans cells. Now, what does this Langerhans cells do? These are actually which participate in immune response. They are formed in bone marrow, but they move to skin. Next comes the melanocytes. These are the cells that are located bottom in the bottom layer of the skin's epidermis, and they produce melanin pigment by the process of melanogenesis. Merkel cells. Now, what is the role of this Merkel cell? These participate in the sense of touch. They are connected to the nerve cells from the dermis. So these are the important four type of cells which are present in the epidermis. As I had told you, epidermis layers are stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum germinatum. This germinatum layer is the one which has living cells, that is, growing cells. This is the tissue section of the five layers of epidermis. There are two types of epidermal glands: sebaceous and sudoriferous glands. Sebaceous are secrete oily secretions, and sudoriferous are the sweat glands. Mammary glands are modified sebaceous glands, and these are present in viviparous animals. This is the transverse section of longitudinal section of the skin, which is showing the epidermis and the dermis. Dermis, it contains the loose connective tissue, and it provides tensile strength and elasticity. It harbors many mechanoreceptors, contain hair follicles, sweat glands, sebaceous glands, apocrine glands, and produces dermal bones. It also regulates heat loss through vasodilation and vasoconstriction, and it is structurally divided into two areas: papillary region and reticular region. Now, in dermis, we can see that it contains blood vessels, nerve endings, and glands, sense organs, smooth muscles, and hair follicles. Sometimes you have observed goosebumps, shivering like feeling will be, and the hair follicles will stand erect. Goosebumps are caused by tiny muscles in the dermis that pull on the hair follicles, which causes the hairs to stand up straight. When you have a sudden fearing feel, as if you have feared, or some cold waves you're feeling, suddenly the hair follicles, the hairs will be standing erect, and this is known as the goosebumps, and this is caused by the muscles which are present in the dermis. Now, beneath the dermis is a layer known as hypodermis, also known as subcutaneous. It is actually not the part of skin, but it lies below the dermis. Its purpose is to attach the skin to underlying bone and muscles, as well as supplying it with blood vessels and nerves. Mammalian skin is separated from the underlying muscle by a cushion or loose connective tissue, the fascia, hypodermis or subcutaneous, which is actually separating the skin from the muscle and the bone, or you can say it is giving a attachment to the skin to the underlying muscle and the bone. Now, the various integumentary derivatives. Glands. A large variety of epidermal glands is present in the skin of mammals. These glands are tubular or alveolar in nature and are always multicellular. You can see the various glands in this section: sebaceous glands, sweat glands, hair follicles. Now, the principal glands, sudoriferous, sudoriferic or sweat glands, also known as sweat glands. These are long and coiled tubular glands. The lower part of the gland lies embedded in the dermis, and the upper part is constituted by a duct which opens to the outside through a pore. The distribution of sweat glands in different mammals is not uniform. What are these sweat glands? They are the actual organs which are providing the appropriate temperature to the body. As in plants, we know that transpiration helps for the circulation of water. Similarly, to keep our body cool or warm, sweat glands play a very important role. And they secrete water like structure and actually they are excreting the toxics, and it is good for health that the toxics are removed through these sweat glands. Now, in case of man, sweat glands are more numerous on palm, sole, or and armpits. Generally, we see that our clothes become wet under the armpits. That is because there are numerous sweat glands over there, and it will be secreting the toxics in the form of sweat. In cat, dog, and rat, sweat glands are more numerous on palm, sole, and armpits. In cat, dog, and rat, it is are found in the sole of feet. In rabbits, the glands are found around the lips. So sweat glands are not uniform always. The ruminants have sweat glands located on the muzzle and on interdigital fold of skin. In hippopotamus, the pinna houses the sweat glands. Sweat glands are absent in tachyglossus, moose, thalpa, cetacea, and sirenia. So the sweat is watery in appearance, but its color is red in certain mammals like hippopotamus and macropus. So we see that the distribution is varying from animal to animal, even in human being. Now, what are the functions? The secretion of sweat glands is known as sweat. Sweat aids in removing nitrogenous waste and helps in the regulation of body temperature. It is believed that the glands of mole in the eye margin of man are modified sweat glands, and similar is the case with ceruminous or wax secreting glands in the external ear passage. In our ears, we feel that wax like secretions are coming out. That is also the modification of sweat glands. These are the structures of the glands. Glands are always having alveolar like structures, and the products are secreted and put in the lumen, and they come out through the pores. Vesicle like structures, they contain the secretory products. In certain glands, they are stored in the cells and then released in the lumen of the glands. Sebaceous glands are alveolar in nature and are generally associated with the hair, but they occur in hairless parts of the body, that is, around the genital organ, tip of the nose, border of lips independently. These glands are absent in pangolin, cetacea, and sirenia. Even sweat glands were absent in cetacea and sirenia. So we see that the sebaceous glands are alveolar in nature and they keep secreting wax like structure. Actually, they are keeping the follicles lubricated. The secretion of the gland is known as sebum. It is oily in nature and helps in keeping the body oily. Meibomian glands in the eyelids are modified sebaceous glands. It secretes an oily film on the surface of the eyeball. Scent glands too are modified sebaceous glands. The secretion of scent glands is sex attractants. We know they are also known as pheromones. Pheromones attract sexes, male to female and female to male. And this you can easily understand when we take the example of tiger and tigress or deer. We see that pheromones attract the male and female to one another. So these are also modifications of sebaceous glands. They are situated on the different parts of the body. In the deer family, scent glands are located near the eyes. In carnivores, scent glands are found near the anus. The pigs and goats have scent glands in between their toes. So the role of scent glands is also different and the locations are also different according to the purpose. Mammary glands, these are the milk producing glands and are found in all mammals. Each gland is made up of number of lobules. Each lobule consists of a number of alveoli which contain the secretory cells. The small ducts emerging from the alveoli gradually converge to form a large duct. Many such large ducts unite and form a common duct which opens to the outside through the nipple. The ducts and alveoli remain surrounded by abundant adipose tissue and contribute to the size of the mamma or breast of the females. So we see that the glands are all alveolar in structure. The cells form secrete and pour it into the lumen of the ducts, and the small ducts join together to form a large duct in case of mammary glands and are opened through the nipple. The secretion of the mammary gland is milk. Mammary glands are active only at certain times, generally, that is, immediately after the young are born, and generally as long as active suckling by the young continues. Till the young ones are suckling, the milk will be produced by the mammary glands. The development and functioning of the mammary glands are controlled by hormones secreted by the ovaries, anterior lobe of pituitary, and adrenal cortex. So, the secretion of milk is under the control of hormones. Mammary glands are compound tubular type in prototheria and they lack nipples, and as a result, the glands open directly on the body surface. In prototheria, mammary area is depressed. In metatheria and eutheria, nipples are always present. Hair is mammalian monopoly. That is, hair is present on mammals, only in mammals. This is one of the general characteristic feature which distinguishes it from other animals. Aves, reptiles, amphibians. The presence of hair means mammal. During embryonic development in all mammals, the body becomes covered with a coating of a fine hair called lanugo. When the offspring is in the developing stage in the uterus, in the womb of the mother, the body is covered with hair, and that hair is known as lanugo. The lanugo hairs are absent on the ventral surface of hand and feet. The lanugo hairs are transient and are shed sometimes before birth. The second set of hair then appears. Collectively, all the hairs covering the body of a mammal is called as pelage. In most mammals, the entire integument remains covered with hair, but in some, the hairy coat is secondarily lost and only traces remain. Here, it is the modification of the stratum corneum, that is, it is epidermal, like fallopian feather and in aves, fallopian feather. And here in mammals, hair is the modification of stratum corneum. Vibrissae, what is this? These are the specialized hairs And we all know whiskers of tiger, cats. These are tactile in function. That is, they can sense the touch. Whalebone, baleen plate. This baleen plate is present in whales, toothless whales, horny sheets of oral ectoderm hair having hair. Whales do not have tooth, they are toothless, and they are filter feeders. The comb like structure here you can see in the whale's mouth, this is actually working as the filter feeder. It is not a bone, but it seems like a comb like structure. These are actually the ectodermal hair, and thus these are used for filter feeding. Hair development. Presence of hair is the monopoly of mammals, and they are connected. Here you can see the structure of a hair follicle. The hair follicle is growing from the dermal papilla and it is coming out as a follicle. Melanocytes are present in the base of this papilla, which gives the color melanin to the hair. Antlers, horns, and digital tips are another modifications or derivatives of skin. Antlers and horns of giraffe. Antlers and horns are not necessary that they are present in all animals. And even we can say that it is not necessary that they are present on both the sexes. In deer, the stag, only males have antlers, and these are mesodermal in origin. Dermal bone of antler attached to the skull bone, and these shed annually. Outside layer is highly vascularized. Antlers are connected from beneath to the connective tissue, and there is a blood supply. Till there is a blood supply, the antlers will be growing, and once the blood supply is stopped, the antlers will stop growing, start keratinizing, the velvet like structure starts falling down, and annually we see that these antlers fall down. So every year they grow as a bony core. The velvet cover on it, on the horns, antlers, when they are being supplied with blood, they keep shining and feel like growing. But once the blood supply is stopped, the velvety layer will be shed off, and then the antler is also shut down. Again, it grows. So these are the animals, deers, which keep growing the antlers every year. Horns, these are horn means hollow. They are found in the bovine families goat, sheep, nilgai, rhinoceros. They have these horns, and these are outgrowth of dermal core. They are unbranched, whereas antlers have branched bovines and tines, and horns are unbranched and hollow from inside. They are covered by epidermal horny keratinized sheet, and horns are permanent. They do not shed. If they are broken, they will stay broken. They cannot be repaired or they cannot be grown again. Keratin fiber horn is found only in rhinoceros. It is a hard conical structure located on the frontal nasal region of the skull. Rhinoceros, it is famous for the one horn or two horn, which is present on the nose. The fibers are not true hairs since their bases lack follicles. The Indian rhinoceros has single horn, whereas African rhinoceros have two horns. The two horns are located on the same median line along the frontonasal bone, and the larger one lies in front. Here you can see the two horns on the rhinoceros, African rhinoceros, and this is the Indian rhinoceros. Digital tips. Nails are found in primates. Even we have 10 fingers and 10 toes, and we have nails on it. Dorsal unguis is large and subunguis is reduced. Unguis, the upper layer, and beneath it is known as subunguis. Claws. Claws were first appeared in reptiles. Claws of birds and reptiles are similar, but in mammals, subunguis is much reduced. Subunguis is the lower region of the nail. The upper region is known as unguis, whereas the lower region is known as subunguis. In cat family, the claws are retractile. That is, they can be taken out and they can be retracted inside. Here you can see the claw of the cat. This middle one, this is showing the retracted one, and this is the exposed claw. On the other side, you can see the exposed claw. This exposed claw, when in not use or while walking, it will retract. It will come inside. And this is the speciality of the cat families. Claws of tigers are also retractile. Subunguis in mammal continue with digit pad. Hoofs are also the derivatives of the skin, and they are found in ungulates, sheep, cows, horses, etc. The unguis is thick and curved and encloses the subunguis. Behind the hoof is a pad. The hoof is a cylindrical horny material that surrounds and protects the tip of the toe. Hoof of horses, each and everyone has seen, even of cows, buffaloes. Claws are present. This is the structure in which digit with claw, and this is digit with nail, and in this digit with hoof. The hoofs are present in the ungulates. Thank you.